Okay, this was a question asked by Scaremonger. He wants to know if my painting sealing techniques will work on like different controllers and whatnot. So this is basically my showing video of how I did it and what all you can use this stuff on and what stuff to use. So as you can see here, I have a very shiny DDR2 RAM stick. I think this was actually the first chip I ever tried with the deck sealer. Oh, what was I using at first? Super glue. That's right. I was running super glue around the chips because these BGA style RAM chips are horrid for getting dusty and screwing up. A little bit of dust gets underneath these bastards and it's pretty well done. Unless you clean it out with a toothbrush or something, it's retarded. So I tried sealing with super glue. Super glue is no good because it has no flexibility whatsoever. So if you bend the chip just the slightest, not the chip, but like the PCB, just the slightest bit putting it in, all you hear is snap as some of the glue cracks and pulls one of the chips off, and you're like, fuck. So super glue was no good. And it dries funny and goes all white when you layer it up. So yeah, you just paint it on layer by layer. The stuff I used was ancient and really thick anyway, so it wasn't too hard to build it up. So you could leave, say like pour out a cup of deck sealer and leave it out for a while, get it to thicken up. So yeah, I taped off the pins on these, painted them up. I've also done this set of RAM chips right here. You can see the shine and bubble on those. Two of them in there. As you can see, they're running right now. So I did those as well. There's a hard drive that's been done. Let's see if I can, there we go, get her to shine. Yeah, you can see it really good on the two black chips there. You can see they're really lumpy and coated. This was another tester of mine, just to see if it would work on various different things, and it does. This hard drive still works beautifully. So yeah, it'll basically work on anything. There's the Wheelie King receiver. As you can see, again, the black chip's all bubbled over and painted. The trickiest bit with these, I guess, would be the pins. But I mean, it's nothing major. Don't worry about the pins, just paint over them. Leave your chip in. Your oh shit, I can't think of it. Your frequency chip, leave it in and just paint over it, because if you do need to change it, this paint stuff isn't really strong per se, so if you just yank on her a bit, the paint will crack, she'll pop right out, and you can put a new one in and reseal it, and you'd only need 1 or 2 layers to reseal it. So yeah, just paint over that thing, take off your lines, and paint over the pins. Like I said, paint over everything until you get the layerage that you want. It's got to be pretty thick, as you can see from the hard drive and shit. It's got to be pretty thick to get a good seal. So yeah, keep layering it up until it looks good and thick and you can see that everything's protected. And then you just take a X-Acto blade and scratch off your pins there. Just scratch all the paint off your pins and there you go. I have had a couple times where water will actually get underneath here and sit on top of your pins but all you have to do is pull the body off, unplug it for a sec, blow it out, put it back on, and you're good. That's the only problem I've had so far with this, and it never shorts anything out. It'll just respond weird or something because there's a little bit of water in between the pins, but of course you can't paint over the pins, so there's not really a lot you can do in that area. But that didn't happen very often. There's the fan. Damn it. Camera's in the light. You can see the bottom's all plastered and shit. Took the blade off, painted that. This one was done with an injection method. Don't use the injection method. It's bad. It worked, but I bet you this ESC took, I'd say a little more than a month to dry, because there's so much in there. So the best way to do it is to take it apart and just paint it. Yeah, just take it apart. Yeah, that hard drive can take it. It's being sat on, but there's the receiver for the Mad Beast. This one hasn't been done anywhere near as much as the other ones. As you can see, there's a shine covering most of it. This one doesn't go through the wet that much because it's got a lot of metal on it, and the batteries go rusty, and I just don't like running this thing in the wet too much. But yeah, that's it. Just basically keep painting it until you get the thickness you need. Like I said, leave your frequency chip in, because if you get paint in the holes, it's going to be a real bugger to get the paint out so that the frequency chip connects properly. So you might as well just paint over the whole thing so that the water can't get in there. Shouldn't be that often that you change those anyway. So yeah, it will work on anything. Hard drives, RAM chips. I did a whole motherboard at one point, but I didn't know that there was water under the socket ahead of time. So inadvertently I ended up sealing water in the socket. And yeah, that board cooked after not too long. There's the box for the receiver on the Beast. Throw that back together. They do have servos on order. I'm just waiting for them to show up. So yeah, you can do anything with it. RAM chips. I don't use that DDR2 one, but it's only 512, that's why. This hard drive still gets used. Yeah, it'll work on anything. Just make sure you clean off your pins. I guess with a brushless controller you could do it like a RAM chip, because they got the solder on connections. You could just run a piece of tape over those so that they don't get painted. Yeah, that's about it. Don't use super glue, because if it ever needs to flex a little bit or something, it won't. It'll just crack and you're pretty well screwed. But this stuff, there you go, there's a perfect example. There's a little flake of deck sealer there, and you can actually see that it has some flexibility to it. It doesn't just crack and fall off. And that's like months old, because I did this ESC way ahead of time, because this is my backup one, just in case my little red one blew up, which it did. But that's not from water or anything, that was from like 15 volts, so hope that explains it to you, and have a good one.